Welcome to Season 2 of the Excel podcast. Join your host Kevin Selwood as he talks to a variety of people with useful and interesting things to say about all things to do with instructing and driver training. Throughout the series, there will be a mixture of local personalities from the driver training industry in the Exeter and Torbay areas, as well as nationally acclaimed trainers. Episodes include informative discussions regarding all aspects of running your business, as well as opportunities to find out a bit more about each interviewee. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody, and thank you very much for taking the time to come and listen to this latest episode of the Excel podcast. And I'm delighted today to bring you somebody who I first got to know last year when he gave me some really valuable advice and actually setting up this podcast. Now, I don't know quite which description is best, but all of these, I think, a very proud Army veteran, driving instructor, instructor trainer, driving school owner, CPD provider and podcaster. So a very warm welcome to Mick Knowles. Hi, Mick.
Hi, Kevin. How are you doing? Thank you for that intro. I never actually realised that there was all that stuff like that. When's it going to end?
You're a mind reader as well.
There's more to come as well. That's not the finished article.
Well, yes, I know there is, because you're not going to reveal that in a scoop to me. I know, but I know there is something in the pipeline. Having seen your Facebook posts and so on. Just to start with, as you know, you're probably, if you don't mind me saying, somebody whose profile is not quite as high in this area in the southwest, which is where where my original intention was to start this podcast off, and it still sort of has its origins and roots there, but obviously with the nature of podcasts, things do actually spread far and wide. So just give us a little bit of sort of a potted history of your timeline going through all those various things that I mentioned.
Yeah, well, I was a bit worried then when you said your profile isn't. I'm thinking, isn't it squeaky clean?
I did actually do this with one of my pre-pass learners a couple of weeks ago, and she was very nervous when she first started, and I did actually refer to her heavy breathing. I thought, no, actually, that's wrong. It's deep breathing.
Yeah. So, where did it all start? Well, I'm first of all, I'm up in Yorkshire. I'm a Yorkshire lad, born and bred. And from what you said there, yes, an Army veteran. I spent 25 years in the Corps of Royal Engineers. Joined up in 1986, way back then, and I eventually got out in 2011. So I had a tremendous 25 years all over the world, serving everywhere that you could probably serve. And had some superb times, but also, as we do, some not so good times. So then got to like my time to leave. I got to that age where I had to look for something else to do, and I didn't have a clue what to do. I really didn't have a clue. About 4 years before I eventually got out, I was driving to Hull with my wife, and I don't know whether we were talking at the time about what I was going to do when I got out or not, but I just remember going down the A63, which is a dual carriageway for those that don't know, and coming the other way was an AA car, and I just went, I want to do that. I'll do that. And she went, how are we going to do that? I said, I don't know. I'll work it out. Not a clue. But what I wanted was, at the time, you actually missed something off, actually. I've just remembered, out of my resume. At the time, I was a football referee on semi-pro leagues.
Oh, right.
And I wanted something that fitted around my family, fitted around my football, something that meant I didn't have to go away all the time, which obviously I was doing in the Army. but also I didn't want to, and this was important, I didn't want to go and work for somebody.
Yeah.
I wanted to be my own boss. Yeah, having spent 25 years in the army and joined and gone through the ranks and got to where I was, I didn't want to like go into a company at the bottom. I know that might not sound right to some people, but I also didn't want to go into the company halfway up or higher up because I'd feel out of place, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I just, yeah, I just thought I want to be my own boss. If I can get somewhere I'm my own boss, then I can fit that work around my family, around my football referee, and that sort of thing. So yeah, I saw the AA car. That was in about 2007, maybe 2008, somewhere around about there.
Yeah.
And that's where it started. I then shortly after that, it must have been about 2008 actually, because mid 2000, mid to late 2008, I went to Afghanistan,
Yeah.
um, and that's where I started looking deeper into it, what I need to do. And I came back from there, and I'd set my sort of my heart on this is what I'm going to do. And that was 2009 when I came back, and then I I got talking to a few companies, um, and I signed off in 2010. So that was me. I had a year left to go,
Right.
and that's when I sort of bit the bullet, so to speak, and went to some national company called Bill Plant. um,
Just about caught that.
but to be fair, at the time, Bill Plant was owned by Bill Plant, and
Right.
Bill
Yeah.
Plant was an ex-Royal Engineer, and we served together.
Right.
So I never met Bill whilst I was training, um, but we served together
Yeah.
back in the 90s. I think it was early to mid 90s. I think it was. Um, so I started training with them, um, as well as serving at the same time, and then I eventually went on a pink license just after. I think it's about 2 months after my final day in green kit, but I was still being paid by the army.
Right.
Went on a trainee license and then qualified around the same time that my final wage came from the army in I think it was early May 2011. I qualified,
Right.
so 12 years ago. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and from there, I then spent a year with Bill Plant, and then I set my own company up, Mixed School Motoring, just a sole trader. Um, a few years later, I took on a driving instructor, Steph Coulson, who actually on Sunday was awarded driving instructor of the
Oh
year.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. I knew I'd come across that name
yeah,
somewhere. Yeah.
yeah. So Steph's been with me since
All right.
2015, I think it was. We first got together,
Yeah.
and then in 2017, I took on two other instructors. Then, so we had four of us. And the issue came then that hang on, I've got Mick School Motoring, but there's only me called Mick, so I need to rebrand. So I rebranded and went limited, and Expert was formed in February of 2017. At this point, I'm also doing some training. I was up and down the country all the time doing my own CPD,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I'd already started to deliver training to ADIs and some PDIs as well. And then I'd also done my BTEC level 4 with Tri Coaching.
Yeah.
I became one of their trainers. I can't remember, about 2018, maybe something like that. And then knowledgeable knowledgeable sort of came to fruition about 18 months ago, October 2021 it was. And what that was I was doing a lot of trailer training. So I had
Oh
expert
right.
driver training and I had expert trailer training as the two companies. But in September 2021, that's, as you know, the trailers just
Yes. just disappeared, didn't
Yeah,
it? Thanks to the government
overnight.
overnight.
Yeah, and I lost about I think it's about £8,500, £9,000 worth of work like that
Yeah,
overnight.
yeah,
So I had a bit of a void there, and I didn't want to take more learners on, but I wanted to up my PDIs and ADI training that I was doing and stuff. So I spoke to Lee Jowett, who was another trainer at Try Coaching, and I threw the idea out to him straight away. He went, "Yes, let's do it."
yeah.
So we sort of started collaborating then and putting things together, and then April last year we launched the company, Knowledgeable Instructor Training, and yeah, so I've now got Knowledgeable Instructor Training, which I'm a co-director of, and I've also got Expert Driver Training, which I'm the only director of.
Right.
So yeah, and they're both going really, really well. And then there's other things as
Great.
well underneath Knowledgeable that we do as well.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'll go into the knowledgeable stuff
yeah,
in a moment. So Expert has sort of flourished as well. So you've got more people working with you there now.
yeah. It's see the way I see small, medium-sized franchise going is you get sort of so far and then a few leave and then you get a few more and it just sort of ups and downs. So I
Yeah.
had, I think, pre-COVID, I think I had 8, including myself. And then I lost 4 during COVID for various reasons. One went to become an examiner, one left the industry, or 2 left the industry. No, sorry, 3 left the industry. One was I got rid of. One left because she wanted a job that wasn't going to get affected by COVID, and the
Right.
other one was yeah was forced to leave the industry, shall we say? Standard checks, that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah.
So it was down to 4, and then slowly it sort of started to pick up, and I got to 5, and then to 6, and then to 7, and I was at 12 until about 2-3 months ago, and then over the last 2-3 months, I've lost 3, 3 that have left to go on their own, and one
Yeah.
that I have told to go.
Right.
So yeah, we're down to 7. Sorry, I was at 11. I was at 11. 11 or 12 because I had a PDI as well. So sorry about that. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
at 12. I'm now down to 8, including a PDI.
Right.
So yeah, it has its ups and downs, but
Yeah.
I've got others that I'm training at the moment now, so hopefully they'll boost it up again. So
Yeah, it's a lot of what you're saying resonates with me as well. That the numbers fluctuate. We've had, I think, 4 or 5 have left us. One of the nice things that they say is that what you did and the way that you structure your business, we benefited from, and which it was a nice thing for them to say.
mm, mm,
And it's we're building up again now. We've Christy and I, she's my business partner. We've got, I think, about 6 or 7 PDIs, but
yeah,
it's suddenly mushroomed again over the
yeah,
last few months. And I've just been out on a second session with one of ours, who is. I've now sent her Diane's Happy Tappy Woman video because we just did some very gentle talk through this morning about emerging left at junctions, and she's telling me to look to the left as I'm emerging. I'm thinking I really would like to know what's going on to the right as I come out to this road.
yeah.
And she'd already boasted. She lives in Honiton. She already boasted to me, "I know Honiton very well, so we're going up this road." And so I said, we're taking the second left, so we're going up there. And she said, right, "I'd like you to take the second road on the right." And I said to her, "Vicky, there aren't any roads on the right up here." So she's now going to be off tapping and doing all of that. We'll see how she gets on
Yeah,
in lefts and rights.
just to calm the nerves down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So let's move on to knowledgeable there, or because there's various aspects to this, aren't there? There's
Yeah.
the podcast, the mag, the CPD. What came first?
Oh God, what came first? Well, I suppose the podcast did, but it wasn't part of Knowledgeable.
Oh, it's the Did podcast, wasn't
Yeah,
it, to
yeah,
start with?
yeah.
Yeah,
So the Did podcast was just I, I've listened to podcasts for years and years. Um, that's how I learn. I'm not a book person.
yeah,
I'll pick a book up for holiday. But what I often do on holidays, I'll pick a book up, fall asleep, and then put my AirPods in and listen to
yeah.
a podcast or something, or an audio book. I tend to get more out of them. So I've listened to podcasts, and I've always thought I want to do one.
Yeah,
And I was procrastinating about, which isn't me. Normally I'm like, right, I'm doing it. Which I did with Lee.
yeah,
Right, Lee, I want to do this. Yeah, and every time we throw an idea out, I'm straight on it, and Lee's like that. Whoa! So I wanted to do it, and I've been thinking about it since the first lockdown in
yeah.
2020, March 2020. And what I was doing during that lockdown was a load of Facebook Lives. Or sorry,
All
not
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
In fact, yeah, I did Facebook Lives, but I also did a lot of online Zoom training as well, and that was sort of my precursor to the podcast.
yeah.
And then in the last lockdown that we had in January 2021, I just bit the bullet and went, right, that's it. I'm doing it.
Right.
I'm not going to
Yeah,
procrastinate anymore. I'm just doing it. So bought myself the headphones and the big mic and all, and I'm on about my fifth mic now, and all that, and I started to record podcasts. Now, what I didn't want to do was I didn't want to let the cat out of the bag and tell everyone what was happening
right.
and what I was doing. I wanted to get everything in place, 5 or 6 recorded, and then go bang.
Yeah,
So I did that, and we launched on, I think it was the 10th of February 2021, as the Did podcast, the Driving Instructor Development Podcast, which basically looked at holistic development of driving instructors. Not teaching them how to turn left, but
yeah.
how to develop their business, their
Yes.
skill,
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
yeah.
So holistically, and I launched that, and then Knowledgeable came around, launched just over a year later, and it wasn't until I think it was the summer 2022 when I said to Lee about bringing the Did podcast under the Kit umbrella. So if I remember rightly, the first podcast that came out as Kit was early October, I think it was 2022. And the reason we brought it out then in October was because it was 6 months from our
Right.
launch of Knowledgeable. So yeah, I think it was actually on the first we launched it, and we had Terry Cook from the Instructor podcast.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He came and interviewed me and Lee on as the guest host on
Right. Yeah.
on the podcast. So yeah, so that was the first thing that sort of came out, even though it wasn't Knowledgeable to start with. Then what happened was we launched. I was going to say we launched our in-person workshops next, but we didn't. We'd wrote the workshop, the course material, but the first course wasn't until the 10th of June. And you probably think, how does he remember the 10th of June? It's my wedding anniversary, and it's also Lee's wedding anniversary. But we're
So
we're
you
not
actually
married together.
no. So you actually went off and did a course on your wedding anniversary.
Yeah. It was only in Pontefract, which is about half an hour
Right.
from us both.
Yeah. Oh, right.
So we didn't stay overnight. We just went there, did it, and came
Yeah.
home. But yeah, it was funny because Lee obviously being my business partner, but we didn't realise that we were married on the 10th of June. Different years.
Gosh,
I've
yeah.
been married a lot longer. But yeah, so we've got the same,
Oh God.
the same anniversary as well.
Yeah.
But the first thing we actually launched was Kit Mag.
Right. Yeah.
So Kit Mag was launched on the 30th of April, 2022, with
Right.
myself, Lee, Diane Hall, and Julia Malkin as the original bloggers. So just the four of
Right.
us.
Yeah.
And then since then we've added San Harper, Alison Harper, and we've got another one coming soon. You'll have to wait and see who that is, though.
Oh, there's a teaser for everyone who listens.
And there might, well, there's actually two names in the frame.
Right.
Both have
you don't have,
confirmed, but we're only.
good.
But at the moment, there's only one coming.
Right.
But that'll be.
So,
I think that'll be next month. I think that's coming in
oh,
May,
right.
end of May.
Oh, as soon as that. Oh, that'll be something to look forward to.
Yeah, it might even be April. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Well, you've only got another 3 days, haven't you?
5
days.
I don't put it together. Lee puts that together.
Ah, right.
So I do the podcast. Lee does Kit Mag,
Right.
and I know we've got one coming, but I don't know whether the article has been sent in time for this month or for next month.
Right.
The first time I see it is about half an hour before everyone else sees it.
Because I've got to say, both the podcast and the mag have, I'd recommend them to anybody. I'd need to find out how many people down there actually know about these, because I actually interviewed Bob Morton about a month ago.
Yeah.
And there's people down here, people who have experienced trainers who had no idea the wealth of material that Bob's put out on YouTube.
Yeah.
So it's really good to be able to raise the profile of these things that are out there freely available to people.
Yeah.
To go and see. I know Terry Cook, as well as yourself, gave me a lot of advice as to what to do to get started. I well remember you saying, get 4 or 5 in the can, ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
To begin with, which it took a lot of the pressure off.
Yeah.
When I started it.
Yeah, so, and that's the thing. You've then got to keep on top, and I sort of keep on top, and I go, right, that's it, end of season. Oh no, I'm starting again. I've got nothing. Yeah. Right, got it. And then I'm spending nights and nights and nights recording and editing, and
Yeah, and I think part of it is also trying to find something a little bit different to other people, so that you're not all doing the same thing. So if the podcast started roughly in October last year,
no, February 2021, the podcast.
20, oh, right.
Yeah,
okay.
we changed it to October. In October last year, we changed it to Knowledgeable from Kit from the Did podcast. Yeah.
So it became Kit then. So that rather raucous one that 4 of us did with you on the Big Learner Relay must have been one of the early ones. No, we had Hugh and Diana, and there was somebody else on there whose surname I think changed, and there was only a very subtle mention, wasn't there, from Jodie about the fact that she was actually getting married. I think if we listen to it again, probably she mentioned it once or twice or 300 times.
Was she getting married? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, I'll get to send the photos.
I might have seen them. I think I remember her posting them every day for about 2 months. Bless her.
You don't put up with her down here as well.
She's lovely.
Oh yeah. You've mentioned somebody else who I'm very grateful to you for finding out about and reading about, and that is Alison Harper, who I know the two of you do quite a lot of sparring with, and I'm pleased that she's become out, and we've taken the plunge, and she's now our social media manager, and she started properly with us this week.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's a bit like being plucked from, I say, Torquay United reserves and going into the first team at a Premiership club. I
Leeds
suppose,
United.
yeah, I suppose. If we do this in 2 weeks' time, there might not be, though.
Whoa. Steady on, Tiger.
Yeah, my wife's a Queen's Park Rangers supporter, and I
Unlucky.
couldn't believe somebody has to be. What are they going to do last week? Beat Burnley at
Yeah.
Burnley.
Yeah.
So she's breathing a sigh of relief that
Well, we'll beat Bournemouth on Saturday, and then Man City next. Bournemouth on Sunday, and then Man City the week after, and we'll be all right then. It's only Man City, isn't it?
That's it. Oh, that'll be on the you know what by then, having if they beat Arsenal tonight, they're well on the way. Yeah, but the difference that I've seen with somebody, we tinkered with social media. I can post things on Instagram and I can post things on Facebook, but by golly, to have somebody who really knows what they're doing, and the fact that Diane Hall signed up with her about a week before, I thought, well, we're in exalted company with yourself and her, and but it's just making such a difference to our engagement.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a bit of a backstory. I don't want to big her up too much because she'll be listening to this, and she'll be waiting for me to big her up. So I'm not going to do it. But you're right. We have a lot of banter.
Oh yes, I've worked that out already.
I'll tell you a little story. We were coming back from Scotland. Me and Lee had been delivering 2 of our workshops up there, and we're coming back. And in fact, I do this all the time. So I'll just hit the end call button mid sentence, dink, and then I'll phone her back and say, "Sorry, just gone through a tunnel." I was sat in B&Q car park last Thursday, waiting for a taxi assessment, and she's on the phone to me, and she's talking away, and I said, "Yeah, I'm sat in B&Q car park," and she's rabbiting away, and I just went, hit the end call button, phone back, sorry, I've just gone through a tunnel in B&Q car park. So it's our standing joke at the moment. But no, it's, so
because you've been with her for about 3 years, haven't you?
Yeah, oh God, is it that long? Yeah. Just before lockdown, so 3.5 years now. Yeah. About October 19. So I used to do all my own social media, and I was I'm going to stick my head above the parapet here. I was good. I sort of self-trained, self-taught. There was things I did that I shouldn't have done, but yeah, we all do that, don't we?
Yeah.
And then I found somebody who was supposedly social media marketing. They started pushing this stuff out, and I was like, "What is this crap they're doing?" It was absolute rubbish. So I chinned them off. That was, I don't know, that was probably 6, 7, 8 years ago, maybe something like that. And I chinned them off. And then I found Alison purely by chance. There was somebody that I know locally who I'd met at a networking events that I used to go to, and she'd put this post up, and she'd mentioned this social media manager. And I just asked her, I said, what's Scar? Who is she? What's she like? Oh, she's really good, blah, 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 blah. So I contacted her. We met up in a bar in Selby over a coffee and a Coke or something like that. And or Alison might have been on the gin actually or something, I'm not sure. I was on the Coke. Drinking Coke, that is. And for anyone that thinks anything different. And we hit it off straight away. And straight away, I wanted to come on board. So she did the I can't remember what it's called, the report, the appraisal sort of my social media. And she actually, she'll deny this, she actually said it's quite good. But there's
She did say something similar. I did say to her, "Be gentle," and I think I got, "It's not bad."
yeah,
So I thought, I'll take that.
yeah. It was like like school report could do better. It's like that.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was such she looked at it, and we altered a few things. We set things in, and we started doing the social media side of it together.
yeah.
She'd come up with the content. Can you read it? Yeah, I've read it. You've not opened the email. I know. Just we'll go with it.
Yeah, she's mentioned that as well.
Yeah, too busy to read emails. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fine. Let's go with it. Yeah. Um, um, so yeah, I do the videos, and then I said to her, I don't know what it was. I think it was during lockdown, one of the lockdowns. I said about TikTok because TikTok was starting to come out. Yeah, to come out. I said we need to get on this TikTok lark, and she went, no, 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 no. It's not for business. And then about 6 months later, I think we ought to do TikTok, and I'm like, you what? And she said, I think we ought to do TikTok. I thought so. So she used me as a sort of a guinea pig, a trial. Um,
right.
and she learned the TikTok side of it, um, and yeah, so we do TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I haven't danced on TikTok before anyone asks, and I will not dance. She keeps asking me, but to me, dancing is good beer drinking time wasted. So
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
yeah,
100% with you there.
I've got two left feet. I can play football, but I can't dance.
Oh yeah, my,
Um,
my wife once said to me, "You've got no rhythm, have you?" And I thought, well, that's the end. If I'm going to skim for, maybe I'll be on the dance floor, but that's the only way I'm ever going to be on there,
exactly.
or to cross it for the exit.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and I'm the same. So no, it's not happening. And then sort of we've just we've just 3.5 years working together. She
yeah,
knows me, I know her. She knows my
yeah,
business, and then um, we got her on the Kit Mag. Um,
yeah.
I think it's about the summertime, something like that. She started writing for Kit Mag, um, and then a couple of months ago, I just said I just came up with an idea, and I mainly do it. Lee phoned me last night after the Leeds game and said, "I've got an idea." I went, "Oh my god, no, not another one." But we like that, so I just said, "Why don't we do a social media extra podcast?" So every month, Alison comes on the podcast, and
Yeah,
we chat social media. So we did a recording last night. It was only a short one last night. Normally they're a little bit longer. I
yeah,
think it's about 35 minutes, something like that. But she has a subject that she wants to talk about, and we just talk about that. So we've done that, and then obviously through Kit Mag, not she's writing the blogs, but it's also promoting herself. So other
yes,
people have
yeah,
come, and yourself, you contacted me about it. Diane, I was actually speaking to Diane. And I just, about social media, I said, you need to speak to Alison. Next thing, she's signed up with her. I'm like, yes. um, and then we went. I mentioned earlier, we went up to Scotland last
yeah,
week. So we were going up to Aberdeen, and I just said to Lee, I said, what do you reckon to getting Alison to do our social media at Kit at Knowledgeable? And he went, yeah. It's going to cost us, but I don't know how much, but we'll find out. So he said, yeah, let's do it. And about 10 seconds later, I went, sod it, I'm phoning her now. Over the driver, I just phoned her up and I said, got something for you. So she said, yeah. And gave us a price, and we said, yeah, we'll have a think about it. And then the next day was the Monday, Manic Monday. We all know what happened on that
yeah,
Monday last
yeah,
week. And I just turned around to Lee and went, let's not wait, let's get her on board now.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I phoned her up and I went, this has just happened within the industry. I want you to
Yeah.
start now. And she went, well, I need this, and this. And I went, no, 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 I want you to start now. Yeah, we'll do. No. And I said, as soon as I get off this phone call, I'm giving you admin rights to Knowledgeable's Facebook. You're starting now. I need paying first. No, just start. Just start. so yeah, she started. Yeah, we sent the payment and everything, and she started officially Sunday just gone, but
Yeah.
yeah, we sort of I was kicking her along to get stuff going earlier.
Yeah.
So yeah, so she's taken 3 driving school or driver training companies on within 2 or 3 weeks. So she's flat out.
Yeah. So it got to the point where I thought, we've got all these people training with us. At some point, we're going to need to be supplying them with work.
Yeah.
And it's all very well us going to these free buy and sell pages on Facebook and so on, but we need something a bit more structured and that's going to bring a long-term effect. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we spent long enough talking about her, haven't we?
Oh yeah. That's. Well, I'll just one thing to back up what you said there.
Yeah.
The reason
I'm only joking, Alison. I don't mind talking about it.
I'm not. The reason I just saw something. The reason why I actually took her on was because I'd got an instructor up in York, and I'd had him for a couple of years, and it was fine. There was enough work coming through for him. But then I took another instructor on in York, and I'm like, right, okay, I need more now. And I think, if I remember rightly, at the time as well, I was just starting to train a PDI up in York as well. So I'm thinking, right. So I took her on, and now my company Expert covers York, Selby, Goole, and Howden. We are inundated, and yes, people say, "Oh, because it's post-COVID." No, I was. We started to see the difference straight away. Before COVID, in them sort of 6 months that I took her on before COVID, we were seeing a massive difference in mainly in. I say mainly in York. We were already well known in Selby, Goole, and Howden, and sort of one of the main ones that people tagged all the time. Where now we're seeing it in York a lot, so that's good. Yeah.
And you're recognisable on the streets these days, aren't you? From all your videos, so I hear.
Yeah. Who did I tell you? I was at Alison that told you.
No, Alison did yesterday.
Yeah, I went to Filey not long ago with the family, and I was just walking down the road with the dog. You know what dogs do? They just stop for a little leg raising against the bin, and this woman's like walking towards me, looking at me. I'm going, he's only having a wee. He's not having a poo around. He's just having a wee. And she's looking at me. She went, "It's Mick, isn't it?" I went, "Yeah." And it turned out it was one of my pupils' mums, who recognised me from the videos and stuff like that. Yeah, but yeah, it's quite funny. And this, I don't know, she might have told you this. I actually broke down, and
yes, you mentioned that.
Yeah. So I broke down. Battery was dead. That's the issue when you put your golf trolley battery on charge on the inverter in the boot. Forget about it.
She didn't dob you in with any of that.
No, I'll do that myself. So I jumped the car, set off anyway. Went to Selby. In fact, it was this lad whose mum saw me in Filey. It was him, and we set off and from his house, and he got to this next village and he stalled, and the car wouldn't start. I'm like, oh, great. And it's about 20 past 8:30. So the whole village kids are going to school. The mums are walking the kids to school. So, I'm just sat there on this housing estate. So I thought, right, I'll pop the bonnet, because if I pop the bonnet, people will know that I've broken down. Somebody might stop. So I'm on the phone trying to get one of my instructors down now, and an instructor drove past and waved at me. Yeah, cheers, thank you. Bonnet's up. And then these families were coming down with the kids, and this bloke came down, and he's like looking as he does, like, double taking, and he walks past us, and we sat there, and next thing he's come back, knocks on the window, says, "Have you broken down, mate?" I nearly said no, just sit out like this with a bonnet for the sake of it. And I went, "Yeah, I have, mate. Yeah, flat battery." And he went, "Give us a minute. I'm a mechanic." He's a mechanic, HCV mechanic. He says, "I'm a mechanic. I've got my van at home. I'll just run down there, get my van, come and charge it up." So he did that. He ran off. I'm like, chill, mate. Don't worry about it. But it's running off down the road. Comes back in the van, pulls it up, gets it jump started for us. And he said, "I only came back because I've seen you on Facebook and TikTok." And I'm like, "All right, cheers, mate." So, I said, "Oh, is that because you've been looking at lessons for someone?" No, I've just seen your Facebook. I think you're great, mate. I always answer your questions because we do like a theory one.
She just posted our first one tonight.
Yeah. So it's funny. So if you're doing videos, you'll start to get recognized.
That's starting on Friday. I've recorded the first one for her.
Good. Yes, it's good. It's good fun, and it gets you out there, and people buy from people. So
yes,
my kids always take the mick out of me. "Oh, it's Mick from Expert Driver Training." I'm like, and so what?
Yeah, and as she said, even if the theory test question, somebody gives you a stupid answer, they've engaged with it. So
Exactly.
you've got a statistic there.
Yeah. And we've done it many times where we've had a sort of a dialogue with somebody. I did it the other week on kit. So Lee had wrote this post. I think it was about, I can't remember now what it was about. He wrote this post, and I shared it to one of the Scottish groups because we're going to Scotland. I think it must have been about the workshops. And this guy commented on it that we're unprofessional because there was a spelling mistake in it. So
the grammar Gestapo is out.
Yeah. So I'm reading through it, and oh yeah, there is a mistake in it. Yeah, not a problem. I can change that. Anyway, as I was about to change it, I saw a comment. Somebody put, "What spelling mistake?" And the guy put, who said we were unprofessional, "knowledgeable." Now, for those that don't know, knowledgeable is actually, the way we spell it is LEE, because it's a play on words with my surname, Lee's first name. So it's knowledgeable Lee. Now, he was saying we'd spelt it wrong. What he didn't realise was that there was a bloody spelling mistake in the text below. So I'm having this chat with him, and he's coming back, and we're unprofessional. Well, no, go to company's house. It's spelt right. That's our way of spelling it. It's like my other company's Expert, but it's not Expert with an E. It's Expert with X. It does, it's a company's name.
Yes.
Then
we'll get the same probably because we're training wheels with a Z.
Yeah, you will. And this is an instructor, so he's like, giving it all this lot. And then somebody else came in, and these people that coming in were backing me up, not him. And he didn't like it. And I turned around and said, "Look, just do yourself a favour, mate. Delete the comment. But thanks for the engagement."
Yeah. I remember seeing that comment from you.
Yeah, it might have not been on one of it was a Scottish guy that said it. I can't remember what group it was on, but it was funny. It was comical. I was in stitches.
Chill out, please.
Yeah. And then he blocked me because I was a bad one. Hang on, what have I done wrong? You're the one that slated me.
Oh dear. Well, moving on to places like Aberdeen and so on, the CPD side of it, because
Mm,
you're doing quite a bit of that, and obviously there are other CPD providers are available, although one less at the moment than used to be, but we don't need to go into that. But do you see yourselves as just a different provider, or do you see yourselves as providing different stuff? No, I'm not trying to get you to tell me what's in the CPD, because people should sign up and go and see it for themselves. But
yes.
what's your angle, and how did you actually? Well, the reason for
So
starting it?
yeah. So first of all, I'd just like to add a little bit more to it. He said, yes, other CPD providers are available. However, none of them, and I categorically state this, none of them are Go Roadie Award CPD Provider of the Year.
Well, I
Just had to
wanted
get that
you. I wanted you to say it rather than me.
So
And
yeah,
congratulations.
thank you. So yeah, what do? We have been busy. Last
Yeah,
week,
yeah,
really busy. Obviously, I'm in Yorkshire, Lee's in Manchester. Drove up to Aberdeen on the Sunday, delivered the workshop on the Monday, drove down to Edinburgh Monday night, delivered on Tuesday, drove back home Tuesday night, Wednesday, Thursday, normal works, Friday, delivered in Manchester, Sunday, delivered a mini workshop in London at the expo, and then back home.
yeah,
So yeah, bit busy. But the in-person workshop that we've got, and that workshop that we did in Edinburgh, Aberdeen, and Manchester, that's uh, that CPD workshop is standard check workshop and client centered learning.
right,
Okay, so we're covering both client
yeah,
centered and the standard check, the 17 competencies. Um, one of the delegates that went to one of the workshops last week said, in fact, two people said more or less the same thing, um, that we that they'd heard most of the content before, or some of the content before, but it was put across in a different way, in a way that they understood it. Um, yeah, which I thought was great,
yeah,
because
yeah,
when you're talking about the 17 competencies, people, it's 17 competencies and they don't change, but it's the way that you put it across,
yeah,
and the reasoning behind it, and that sort of thing. So it's great to see that, yeah, that we were making people understand it better, or allowing people to understand it easier and better, which
yeah,
is what we want. We're simplifying it,
yeah,
but we do. Everyone says, "Wow, a hell of a lot to take on, a hell of a lot of info," and there is. It takes,
yeah, yeah.
you know, we're hoping to come down to your neck of the woods in the summer, mainly because I want a summer holiday down on the south coast somewhere.
There's a place in Princetown that have a cell for you on the middle of Dartmoor.
No, I've been to that. When he said Princetown, I thought he meant Barbados. That's Princetown, isn't it? I'm thinking,
No, I'm thinking the one where you can go to Her Majesty's pleasure.
I've been to Dartmouth before. Not there though. Not there.
No,
So yeah, that's what we cover in the 17
yeah,
competencies, client centered learning, and it's an interactive workshop where we're trying to get the audience to participate, the delegates to participate, to talk, to question, to talk between each other, that sort of thing. And
yeah,
it seems to work. We've had some really good feedback from it.
yeah,
So yeah, it's good.
yeah.
It's good,
That'd be great to
and,
have
and we
you.
enjoy it.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's right. There isn't one size fits all, is there? Although there is a famous footballer called One Size, isn't there? But that's another matter. But well, as you say, somebody may have heard the stuff before, but not been able to relate to it. And
Yeah.
what works for one person won't work for somebody else.
Yeah, and the other thing with it is we've actually had a few people come back a second time,
Right.
which is good.
Yeah.
And it's like we mentioned Diane Hall before, because you can hear, like we said, it's a similar sort of information, but just said differently. So people might not take it on the first time, but when they hear it in another way, they will. And like with Diane, I've done Diane's workshop 3-4 times,
Right.
something like that. And every time I go, I get more from it.
Yeah.
Even though I've heard it all,
Yeah.
But sometimes when people are listening, it takes longer for them to process it. You know what I mean? So and I'm with Diane again in, I think it's about 2 weeks' time. I think it is 2 weeks. 2 weeks on Friday. She's down here. I think it's 2 weeks. 12th. She's up here rather. And that'll be my 4th or maybe 5th time.
Right.
And there'll still be stuff then.
Yes.
That I will learn from or refresh.
Yeah, I did her course in Taunton last year, and there's she's due to come to Exeter sometime this year. The date's not been confirmed yet, and I'll be doing one of these podcasts with her then as well. But there's so much that I can't remember from because the one thing that really stuck out for me from last year was Chris, her partner. The thing he said was that what somebody else thinks about you is none of your business.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I've really remembered from that. And it's something to learn is, that person behind you, what they're thinking about you is nothing to do with you. Just you forget about them. Now, it's easy to say and harder to do, I know. But, it's, what somebody, and say with the internet and all the rubbish that goes on there, I don't give a toss what somebody else thinks about me. It's up to them, But
and I fully support that. I've had issues, business issues, where people have said or done things and about me, and I know they have. They have. I found out, and it's affected me. But I'll then turn around and go, don't care, get rid. And I actually wrote a piece for Kitmag about that, or similar sort of thing of get rid of the negative. I think I called it the character Damien from The Omen, I think it was, or something like that. Just get rid of it, get rid of that negative. You don't need it. You don't know what they're talking about. You don't and it doesn't affect me because I'm not interested in them. I'm interested in what I'm doing.
Right. Well, we'll tie things up in a minute because I'm looking at the clock and thinking that they have just kicked off at the Etihad Stadium. And whenever anybody's listening to this, we're actually doing this on the day that Manchester City and Arsenal fight it out for the Premiership title.
The big one was yesterday, Leeds Leicester, though. Not a good result.
There's fingernail time in the next couple of 3 games. Now, just to finish off, your take on how things are going at the DVSA and this consultation and the waiting times for tests and that sort of thing. Any opinion you care to share with us on any of that?
Yeah, Kev, that's a great question, but have you got one on sport? Yeah, I have actually. Yeah. So consultation. To me, if I'm right, a consultation means that you ask the questions, you get the answers in, you look at the answers, and then you go with what the majority sort of says. Am I right?
Well, I get the feeling that the 40,000 driving instructors are probably, if they're all, not they're all going to listen to this, but I think virtually all of them have been nodding away straight away.
So let's look back at September 2021. The consultation around the B plus E and the HGV. I don't know many that said, "Yeah, let's scrap it." But what happened? Oh, we scrapped it. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a consultation, in so much as the word has been used. I know the outcome. All them ideas they came up with will happen.
Yeah.
Now I can't think what all of them are, but some of them I can see. The 28 days thing, for example. Where we're moving it from doing your test from 10 working days to now 28 working days. I can see why they're doing that. It's gonna encourage people, give people more time to have some training, but also there are people out there that fail today, go on the WhatsApp, go on the cancellation apps, and get one in 11 days time through there.
Yeah.
And then go and do it and fail again and
Yes.
fail again and fail again and and they keep doing that. And they're wasting tests.
Yeah.
The other one of cancellations 10 days before. I can sort of see where that's coming from. They're trying to get people to cancel early, but I don't think that one will work. It's not working now. People are just not turning up for tests.
Yeah.
So if they're not turning up for tests when the cancellation policies, is it 5 working days? Yeah, it's gone to 5 working days now, isn't it? Yeah. So if they're not turning up now, they're not going to turn up when it's 10.
Yeah.
Them same people. Some will, but them people that are not bothered, they're still not going to be bothered at 10 days. So, the other things were things like an electronic certificate. That was talked about years ago. That's probably going to come in. But I think it's the tip of the iceberg. There's more they can do. There's a lot more they can do. The booking system, for example.
I listened to Bob Morton on Terry Cook's podcast.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago. I've never heard Bob so animated about the DVSA, and he's quite. It's all very well putting all these things out onto us, but for God's sake, look at yourselves. Look at what you're, and if you're getting such low take up in consultations, surely, and you keep getting that, and you keep doing the same thing. Surely there's something wrong there. You say you want to engage with instructors, and you don't get the engagement. Well, maybe you need to do it differently.
Yeah. Where was the consultation when it came to the triggers?
Yeah.
Where was the consultation when it came to who was on the triggers? Now, initially, when the triggers came out, it was only for ADIs.
Yeah.
Not for PDIs. I found out just before Christmas that PDIs are actually on the triggers as well.
Yeah.
But initially it wasn't. And nothing was released about it. I found out on by a conversation with my local ADI examiner, because one of my newly qualified had been had got his first standards check, but he qualified about 6 to 8 months before another one of my after 6 to 8 months after one of my other ADIs qualified, and he hadn't got his standards check. So I queried it and he went, "Oh, it's because he's on the triggers." I went, whoa. We were told it was just ADIs, and newly qualified ADIs weren't on it until they'd had a standards check in their first year to 18 months. What they get? And no, it's anybody that can be on it. And they can even pull PDIs forward for a part 3. That's what he said.
Oh God.
So I flagged this up to I flagged that up, and there was something else. I can't think what the other one was now. There's two things that I found out, and I flagged them up to NASP, and NASP went to the DVSA, and eventually they got the answer that that's right. But it's So where was the consultation for that? It's like we'll do a consultation if we want to do it, but we won't really do it properly. So, and you're right. They need to look at themselves as well. We've just lost 3 ADIs today, who have all failed their third attempt today, and that's just up here in my area, which is wrong. Whereas there is, and I don't really want to. I'm not going to name names, but there is an examiner not near me at all.
No.
The ADI examiner near me, I get on with. He's very approachable. In fact, they both are. They're both very approachable.
Same here.
Yeah. There is another ADI examiner that I know around the country that has been reported for the way he's conducted and the way he's spoken to ADIs and PDIs, and nothing is happening. That's wrong.
We had one down here who got complained about and now isn't doing it anymore. But there's one very long-standing who I know very even texts me sometimes with information. And we've got a new guy who's just started in the last year or so, and he is incredibly approachable. And he passed one of mine on a part 2 last week, and I had a lovely chat with him afterwards. So when you've got them like that, and you feel they're on your side as well, you can get lots of information from them. But it's so wrong when they've got the wrong attitude. I sometimes wonder if it's the way they're getting treated by the DVSA that makes them feel a little bit.
Could be.
The morale's not great there, is it? At the moment?
No, I wouldn't like to do their job.
No.
Not sniff. No, not sniff. It's not for me.
Well, no. Oh, no. Some of my learners say, why don't you become an examiner? I said, what, take a pay cut? Oh, really? They're quite surprised when I tell them how much an examiner, just a normal examiner earns. But, And anyway, on that sky, I can see that up there it's getting a little bit dark, so I don't want you to. And also the news is that De Bruyne has scored.
Oh, that's tasty. 11 minutes in.
So he scored after 7.
Oh,
and you'll also be delighted to know that Gakpo has equalised for Liverpool at West Ham.
Oh, that's all right. I don't think there's any West Ham are out of it. They're not in the relegation fight. I don't think there's anybody in the relegation fight tonight. Actually, I think it's all tomorrow.
No,
Southampton, Bournemouth,
yeah.
Everton. They're all playing tomorrow. So.
Well, and for all those ADIs I know down here who are absolutely delighted in football, who will now be yawning, even if they get this far and listen to this podcast. That's probably a good point to end this and to say, Mick, thank you so much for giving up your time. It's been invaluable to get an insight from somebody else, and also to highlight what you have to offer. And I should certainly put in the notes about for those who don't know, the KIP podcast and everything that you do with Knowledgeable, so people can take a look. And hopefully we will see you down here at some point.
No, thank you for having us on here. It's been great, and yes, we will be down at some point in the summer. It's been great. It's been fun.
Yeah, brilliant. As always, Mick. No, great. Thanks ever so much.
No problems. Take care.